A warm welcome to you, my dear children. Welcome back to Business and Accounting Studies. We meet again. In the previous sessions, children, we discussed about many types of business organizations because we are in Unit 3 in your syllabus, Unit 3, continuing with the chapters. Okay? So if you got together with me, if you watched the previous session, you might remember we talked about many types of business organizations. All right? Why don't you tell me? Do you remember the organizations that we discussed about? Last sessions, previous sessions? Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies. That's right. Incorporated companies it was also called limited companies. Then I told you that sole proprietorships, partnerships, and limited companies, all three are profit motive organizations. But another two, we discussed about another two. Those two were non-profit organizations. What were they? I'm sure that you remember. Tell me the last two organizations that we discussed about. Associations, that's right. First, let's take cooperatives, cooperative societies, then associations or clubs and societies. Cooperative societies, clubs and societies. Those two, I mentioned that those are mainly having social welfare motive, not targeting or aiming to earn a profit to somebody, to one owner or two owners, not operated with a profit motive. And as you can see, today we are going to talk about what? Public sector businesses or government-owned businesses. Here you go. Government-owned businesses, public sector. When I say that, you must know that all these organizations I mentioned, all these organizations belong to the private sector. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, limited companies, cooperative societies, clubs and societies, or associations. All these organizations are in the private sector. Now we are in the public sector. All right, before moving on, I just want you to take a good look at these organizations. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 organizations. And you can guess that all these organizations are in the public sector or government sector. Organizations which are started and operated by the government. Moving on. First type of government organization, children. State corporations. Here we go. Let's look at what these organizations are. State corporations. Just for your information, just before we start, sometimes students, they get confused between incorporated and cooperatives. Incorporated companies and cooperatives. And I gave you a remedy, a solution for that. Remember? What was the solution I gave you? Incorporated companies and cooperatives. Maybe you don't remember. I said for incorporated companies, you can use limited companies, and cooperatives are cooperatives. Samupakara. So, incorporated companies you can remember as limited companies, and cooperatives are cooperatives. Okay? Profit, non-profit. Here we get corporations, again a similar name. But you can clearly take this into your memory as state corporations. State. State means what? State means government. State means government owned state. State, United States of America, like that. State corporations are government organizations. Let's see what they are. Businesses fully owned or majority is owned by the government, didn't I tell you, are known as state corporations. So just to make it clearer, I'll just write government. It's not very important to write government here. That's why I use the light color. You know already, state means government. Fully owned or majority owned by the government are known as state corporations. And state corporations are controlled by the board of directors. State corporations are controlled by a board of directors appointed by the government. And you learned about some other organizations which are controlled, managed by a board of directors. What were they? Why don't you tell me? What were they? What organizations are managed by a board of directors? Sole proprietorships has a board of directors? No. Partnerships? No. Limited companies? Yes. Managed by a board of directors. There are directors. So, state corporations too have directors, but they are appointed by the government. Okay? Government. These businesses will be commenced under a general or special act of the Parliament. This is something I want you to memorize. Commenced under a general or special act of the Parliament. We have learnt about Parliament Acts, ordinances. Tell me, you remember them, right? Tell me one act that you remember. We learned a few in the previous session. I want you to tell me one act. You don't remember. I can't believe it. You remember, right? Act number 7 of 2007, the Companies Act. You remember, right? The Companies Act number 7 of 2007. Companies Act. Act number 5 of 1972. Cooperative Societies Act. Very good. Act number 5 of 1972. Cooperative Societies Act. Just like that, there is no specific act here, children. No specific act. These organizations can be started under a general or special act of the parliament. They can bring a new act, a special act or a general act. Special act or a general act. The parliamentarians, they have the ability to bring and approve a general or a special act in order to start a government corporation. Past papers have asked this question. These are also known as state corporations, commissions, authorities, boards, and bureaus. How many names do they have? Is it a pain to remember these things? It should not be a pain. Okay. Let's find out what these names are. State corporations are also known as commissions, authorities, boards, bureaus. Now I will tell you some of the names of these real life in local context in our country. Some of these corporations that we know, that we always see every day. There. I have one right there. Remember, children, state corporations, they are involved in various fields. They are doing various activities for the country. And this is one of the main corporations. CPETCO. CPETCO. You have seen that. Don't tell me that you haven't seen that. The logo. You drive into these petrol sheds, fuel stations to pump petrol to your car. Of course, you have gone to these fuel stations. You call them sheds. Shed. You go to the shed. That's what we call. But fuel stations, all right? And those fuel stations are not private owned. They are owned by this corporation. Because importing fuel from countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Middle East is done by this corporation. It's a government-owned corporation. I'll tell you what the name means really. What this name really means. This name, C means Ceylon. Pet means what? Your pet cat. No. Pet means petroleum. Okay. Co means what? Now you tell me. Co means corporation. Ceylon. Petroleum. Corporation. CPETCO. It's a corporation, children. Remember. Ceylon. Petroleum. Corporation. CPETCO. Okay, involved in importing and distributing oil, crude oil. Yeah, petrol, diesel. CPETCO. Okay, children. Now, another corporation for your memory. Remember, Ports Authority. The Ports Authority. Okay. All right. Let's use the color of the ocean for that. Ports Authority. Ports authority. Ports authority. I just want you to see this word, ports. Hub. Right? You know that, right? Ports authority is another corporation, government owned corporation. Ports authority. Remember, children, these have come always in the MCQ paper. They give a name of a corporation or a government institution and they ask you a question. Remember, Ports Authority is a corporation. Corporation. And another one. Let's take this one. Foreign Employment Bureau. That's another corporation. Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment. So, see these words, bureau, authority, corporation. All these are state corporations. Remember the wordings, huh? Here we have another authority. What is that? Ports Authority? No, that is T Small Holdings Development Authority. That is T Small Holdings Development Authority, because T is a main export of our country. Tea is one of the main exports. For that, in order to govern the activities, the government has put up this authority. Okay, I hope you can see this, right? All these boards and bureaus and authorities and all these are government state corporations. Okay, right, moving on. We have Sri Lanka Rupawahini Corporation, examples, Ports Authority, I showed you this. Coconut Development Authority. It's easy to remember. Coconut Development. Okay, Coconut Development. State Pharmaceuticals Corporation of Sri Lanka. Or we call it SPC. Now you know SPC. Osusala. SPC. It's a corporation. State Pharmaceuticals Corporation. Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment. Foreign Employment Bureau, I showed you in the previous slide. Foreign Employment Bureau and Export Insurance Board. Boards and bureaus. Boards, bureaus, authorities. All are corporations, state corporations. Fine, we'll go and see what features they have. Characteristics, children. Let's take the first one. Okay. Government ownership and control. Yeah, sure, we know that. Right? Sure. Government ownership and control. We know that. That is the main feature. It says full or majority of ownership and control is vested with the government. In some instances, the private sector also hold a minority of shares. They give a portion of the shares to the private sector too, if it is necessary. But majority is owned and controlled by the government. Okay, not a private organization. It's a public organization. So the second objective is providing services to the nation, not earning a profit. Their main objective is not profit. Objective is providing services to the nation, providing services in common. Text. Most of the state corporations are aimed at providing services in common to the general public. Who is that? That is us. Yeah, that is us children. General public. Corporations are set up in order to provide commonly to provide services to us, to the citizens or to the general public of the country. Yeah, very important organizations. Then third we have legal personality. In legal activities, a state corporation has a separate legal. Okay, that's a good feature. That's a good one. Separate legal personality. We know what legal personality is. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you learned about legal personality several times, not once. I have explained to you. Right? They have a legal personality. Corporations, okay? State corporations have a legal personality. Remember, children, important point. That's why I always tick or underline or, do things, because these points are important. You should keep it in your mind. All right. Can commence either under a special act or general existing act. This was previously done. Can start either under a special act or under a general existing act. Can be started. Continued existence. So fourth is that can start under a special parliament act or general act. Fifth, continued existence. Since state corporations are established under an act of parliament, they have continued existence. And most importantly, remember, all the organizations which has a continued existence, they have that because there is a legal personality. Just to let you see it clearly, all the organizations which has a continued existence, they have that continued existence mainly because they have a legal personality. What else? What are the other organizations which has a continued existence and a legal personality? What are the other organizations, children? Sole proprietorships? No. Partnerships? Legal personality? No. Incorporated companies or limited companies has a legal personality? Yes, correct. Remember, continued existence and legal personality. Moving on. Advantages. Of course, we talk about advantages and disadvantages of every organization. Let's take the first advantage. Appropriate for the provision of essential services. Just like I said, they provide us services. It's an advantage. It's good to provide. Children, these words, don't take them very seriously. Provision means provide. Okay? Provision means provide. Is that clear to you? Provide. Providing essential services. That is the main task or the objective of state corporations. Okay? Second, to reduce the monopoly effects of private sector. Now that is something I must explain a little bit. What is monopoly? What is this? What is the meaning of monopoly, huh? Monopoly. Is it a game? No. Monopoly means one organization having the control or having the entire market captured, or only one organization providing that goods or those services. Simply saying, there's only one provider or company that provides that good in the whole country. That company has a monopoly. Well, the company can act in any way that that they like to act, or they can raise prices of the goods because only their goods are available for that country. That is bad. Monopoly is bad. So to reduce monopoly, reduce the monopoly, government can set up a corporation and to start a business, not to go against that company, but to break the monopoly. Okay, so that is an advantage. Profits owned by the public. Profits owned by the public. The government is setting up or forming these corporations to provide services to us, to you, to us. So the profits also owned by the public. It goes to the country. Okay, so at least 2 children, 2 or 3. I'm sure you can remember these. Now that you have the understanding, right? What corporations are. Then we'll finish off by ticking the disadvantages. Absence of independence in decision making. The board of directors cannot decide or make decisions independently. They always have to take the approval of the government. It's difficult. Need to adhere to financial regulations of the government. Again, the government is getting in the way. But that's the nature. These are government organizations. So these disadvantages are there. More government interference. Okay? Government interference. Government always getting in the way. That's the disadvantage. Okay, children, we're going to move on to the last organization in this lesson, which belongs to the government or public sector. Take these points. Government departments. Now, I'll make it simple for you. You have heard the education department, right? Totally government. Totally, entirely government. Health department under the health ministry. These are the departments of the government. Let's go through the text. State departments are institutions that will be directly and fully governed by the government under a ministry. Departments are operated in order to provide various services to the general public, to us, to you, to me, to everybody. Providing services, right? Not earning a profit, not targeting a profit. and they are directly and fully governed by the government. Fully governed by the government under a ministry. Now, what do you know about ministries, children? Ministries. Do you know about ministers? Health minister. In the recent past, in the past few months, or like within 1 year, we are hearing a lot about the health minister and the health ministry because of the COVID situation. They are responsible of ensuring or providing health facilities to the public and ensuring the good health of the public. Health ministry, health minister. I don't want to mention any names. It's a lady, right? So under health ministry, the health department of health is run. Department of health under health ministry. Just like that, under education ministry, the education department is run, is operated. So departments are operated under a government ministry, okay, and to provide various services to us. That is their objective or aim. Departments. We have Sri Lanka Railway Department, Sri Lanka Postal Department. Now both are not functioning these days, right? Wait, the railway department is functioning. Trains are running, right? But postal department, we don't use the service that much. Posting letters these days. Yeah. You tell me. Let's go and check out the characteristics, the features. The following characteristics can be seen in state departments compared to other business organizations. Ownership and control vested with the government, totally on the government. The departments are fully owned by the government and directly governed by the parliament and the respective ministry. Governed by the parliament and the respective ministry. And management and administration is done through heads of departments, head of department. Management, the decision making. But he or she, the head of department, always must get the approval of the minister or ministry. It's true. So that will come later on. That will come as a disadvantage. Okay, we'll talk about that. So first feature there. Second feature here. In legal activities, the head of the department should represent the department using his designation. No legal personality, children. No. In legal activities, head of the department is representing the department. No legal personality. Third, continued existence. Okay. Existence of the department depends on the discretion of the government. Until the government is ready to continue the department, it will run as an organization. So this continued existence is always important. I'm not going to ask children what are the other organizations which has a continued existence. I asked you several times. You should remember. Then we'll talk about this feature, the fourth one. Funded by the government. Required funds will be allocated by the annual budget of the government. Owners are not there to put in money, to invest money, and to start departments. No, children. These are not private organizations. No owners are there. Government invests the money or puts in the money. Funds, money from the annual budget of the government. Okay, so funded by the government, owned and controlled by the government. Everything is by the government. We have advantages and disadvantages. Departments. Okay, departments. Here we go. The final little bit of departments. You can clearly see now. Departments provide essential services to the public. Will not be otherwise provided by the private sector. Will the private sector provide health for free? No. Well, very, very rarely private sector provides, private businesses provide something for free. It's very, very rare. Why? Because they are always thinking about the profit or having a profit motive. That's why, children, all the services to the public which will not be provided by the private sector, all the services are provided by government sector and especially by departments. First and foremost, main advantage, all the welfare services, essential services, children, essential services provided by the departments. Like what? Education, health, hospitals. Okay. Second, the departments will handle long-term development activities which require a large amount of funds. Departments are involved in long-term development projects, and they will handle long-term development activities. Good for the country, advantage. Large number of employees are working in departments providing more employment. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people, a lot of colleagues who are working in the government sector, doing government jobs, employed in departments. Highly educated ones in, having high positions and mid-level positions and lower level positions, even like drivers and laborers and field officers, and a lot of people get jobs in these departments. Big advantage even to the entire country. Large number of employment opportunities provided. Last, departments provide services for well-being of the general public without profit motive. We know that. We already know. We'll move on to disadvantages, shall we? Decision making will be delayed due to approval required from the parliament and the respective ministry. Decision making is delayed always, because for everything the departmental head or the managing parties should take the approval of the government. It's a little fuzz, it's a fuzzy thing. It's not very simple. So decision making is hard, difficult. I told you, right? Always the government gets in the way. The minister, the ministry, everybody's approval needed. So it's delayed. Decision making is delayed. Disadvantage, Last but not least, departments have to conduct activities in accordance with the provisions in government financial regulations. Again, the money, the funds is controlled by the government. And the departments have to conduct their activities waiting for the funds to arrive, and sometimes the funds do not arrive. Projects are stopped halfway. It's true. Government financial regulations, establishment code and different circulars. Lengthy process. There is a lengthy process. It's not like 1 day, 2 day, maybe 1 week to arrive money or to allocate money for the projects. It takes months. Big disadvantage. Again, government ministry approval needed. Take this point in a simpler way. Government or ministry approval needed for the projects or funding of the projects. All right, children. We are done with types of business organizations. Private sector organizations, types of organizations. 5 types. Tell me. You tell me. The 5 types of organizations. Sole proprietorships, partnerships, incorporated companies or limited companies, cooperatives, associations or clubs or societies. 5 types. Government sector, 2 types. What? Corporations, state corporations, that's right, and government departments or state departments. 2. With that, children, we finished this chapter of Unit 3, Business Organizations. I hope everything that we did, that you learned from me, is clear and interesting. As I always tell you, the main purpose of this subject is not only preparing you to answer a paper. This is for the future business owners or entrepreneurs of this country. Very important information about businesses, business environments, business organizations, and types of organizations. With that, children, we finish today's session. I hope to see you soon with the latter part of Unit 3. So, thank you very much for being with us. See you soon.